What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a live show, a different one. I know it's Inter kicking off on a Sunday, but I recorded a preview with Anthony from Inter Worldwide, which is going to be fun, So I'm going to drop it tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. That will be my preview for the Inter game. We will touch on Inter a little bit later in this show, but we will talk about especially transfers because I think it's very obvious right now that we're gonna make some moves in January. Also because Giuntoli confirmed that pre Stuttgart game. I know Rugani's agent came out and basically said, I know the club is looking for a defender, but Rugani's not coming back, so on, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of confirms that as well. And just in general, well, there was no need for confirmation. We need help because we are short, especially with Bremer, and Danilo cannot play. And talking about Danilo, just before we started this live, Romano dropped that Danilo news, which is not surprising news. It's not breaking news, to be honest, because I think we all had a feeling Danilo is done in general, but also is done at this club as well. When the news came out that he's trying to get rid of that automatic clause, if he plays 50% of the game, kind of tells you that he knows the writing of the wall. And even if that 50%, clause playing games, news wasn't out there that Danilo wants to kind of cancel that. The fact that he was not starting under Thiago Motta, well, that should have been the best indicator to suggest that he knows he's not going to be part of the team, nor should he be part of the team, to be honest. But right now we are short, so he's going to play games until we have a solution, and we don't have a solution right now. But Danilo at the club, he's done. He's done. His time is over. What we're trying to do with this club, he doesn't fit in. He just doesn't fit in because he's not a good player. I'm like, maybe I came across the last couple of seasons acting like he is one of the worst players I've ever seen. I never meant that to be that. However, he was kept to a standard that I needed to put him to that standard. I needed to rate him up to that standard because the standard he was put on, or the pedestal he was put on by the club and the fans, I needed to rate him based on that pedestal, and that was rubbish. If people thought he was here, he was never here. He was always there. If people thought he was there, I would have been very soft on him. I like, it would be one of those players where I'm like, yeah, come on, man, you're not good enough. But if people told me week in, week out, he's good, he's fantastic, then fine. If you want to do that, then I will think how bad he is compared to how good you think he is. He's done. He was never good, as good as people thought. When he came on, when we subbed him with Cancelo, I understood why they did it financially. But like for like, in terms of quality, that was one of the most shocking move we have ever did. We have ever done. I don't care that Cancelo makes mistakes defensively. Danilo makes mistakes defensively and has done so ever since he joined. And offers absolutely nothing close to what Cancelo would offer, including the mistakes. So to suggest that we ever won that swap, you actually must hate football. I'm sorry. You don't enjoy football if you actually think we needed Danilo over Cancelo. And funnily enough, in the summer, people were laughing, oh, Cancelo's go to the Saudi League. Well, here we are. Here we are. Danilo going to the Saudi League because he got benched by a Serie C player. That's just the reality of it. De Fabrizio mean in January, says Hanin. I'm not so sure about that. That would be a very strange move for Juve because then you need two defenders. Like, we need one in general because Danilo's not good enough. But if you move him on as well, you need him and another one because we're just extremely short. So I don't think it's meant to be in January. I will be actually shocked if it's in January. If you bring me in two players, I'm cool. I'm fine. Move him on because we cannot trust him. Like, I tried to do that against Stuttgart. We cannot trust him. So if the club has a plan to bring in two defenders, fine, but do not panic. Do not bring in a Hummels type of player, who is riding bench, which I could have predicted, or actually predicted when he joined Roma. It needs to be quality. Like, we need to sign players, and that's what we're going to talk about, who actually can offer something, who are reliable to a certain extent, or you believe are good enough right now, and meaning and growing in terms of for the future as well. then the news is meaningless. His contract ends anyway. Yeah, but I think it's based on that 50% contract clause that he's trying to get rid out of his contract. I think he's more pointing towards that, saying that he's done. You know, the clause is probably like he's just done. You know, forget about the clause. It's not gonna happen. I think they will find an agreement because in January, I don't see this happening. You know, we will talk about it because right now we have some options. You know, one of the options is apparently Dragusin. The other one is Skriniar, and then there's Ta as well, who is a free agent in the summer, but will probably command a significant fee this January because why should they sell? You know, why should they sell? You know, they're in the Champions League, they're doing well. Last season, brilliant. You know, I don't think they're in a situation where they need to sell Jonathan. Is his name Jonathan Ta? I'm not so sure anymore. But Ta. So it's gonna cost you money that maybe Giuntoli does not want to spend this January. Obviously, Dragusin dealing with Tottenham is never easy. I know the news is that, as you can see, alone. I'm not the biggest Dragusin fan. I never was. I never was a big Dragusin fan. He was brilliant at Genoa. That stretch of games where it's like, wow. Moved to Tottenham, didn't show anything. To be honest, you know, even the games he played, I didn't think he was that good. Maybe that was too soon. Not maybe, it was too soon. 100%. I'm not the biggest Dragusin fan. Like if we bring in Dragusin, I won't look at that backline and be like, yeah, we improved massively for this season. You know, that's just me. Skriniar, again, I never was a fan of Skriniar. Not at Inter as well. I know he had that brilliant period, but in general, I never was a Skriniar fan. As a defender, I never looked at Skriniar and I was like, I need you at my club. And that's just me personally. I never had that feeling with him. But those are the options. We're not going to spend a lot of money in January unless the club, for some reason, identify a player that they want to bring in for next season as well. And for some reason, they have the money and they're able to convince the team he plays for, then obviously they're going to do that. But usually, that's about a player that's important in Europe, important for his current club, and they don't sell in January unless something weird happen. These clubs tend to not, like, it's like a club coming in and we know, for example, let's say Bremer is fit. Bremer was fit and we all had a feeling, he's gonna leave in the summer, and a club comes in, then the Juve is not like, yeah, you can go. No, you're gonna stay because you're gonna go in the summer. We know that, but we're not gonna ruin our season right now. That's what these profile of players, unless something weird is up, they're not moving. So the Skriniar one is a realistic option for Juve. It is a realistic option for Juve because he wants to leave PSG. He's not playing as PSG. PSG are open to a loan, so it's possible. You know, with Dragusin, I'm not sure Tottenham are open for a loan. You know, I'm not really sure about that as well. So, and even with Dragusin, like, is he ready-made? Yeah, he showed that at Genoa, but I'm not sure that's what the club is looking for in January. You know, I don't. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if it's a loan with Dragusin, it's gonna be with an obligation to buy. Do you want to do that? Do you want to have an obligation to buy Dragusin? Because you cannot loan Dragusin, let him plays well, and then it's like, thank you, Tottenham, here we go again. So whoever you bring in, if it's a young player, you're probably gonna commit to it. Not to Skriniar, obviously, but like a player like Dragusin, you're gonna commit, you know. And I'm not convinced on Dragusin in terms of for the future. I'm not the biggest Dragusin fan personally, so we need to see, but we definitely need help, you know. And maybe it was more about Vlahovic earlier on. Maybe it was about Dragusin, about the backline. Right now, excuse me, it was about the backline. But earlier on in the season, it was about a striker, and it still should be about a striker because Vlahovic is playing week in, week out, and we don't have an alternative to Vlahovic. And even if Vlahovic was balling out or not balling out, there's no alternative. If you want to look at it from an angle of he has no competition. There's no pressure. He can just play rubbish and he's going to play again next week. I see that point. But also from the point where it's like he cannot remain 100% fit if he's going to play week in, week out. So we need solutions for that as well, which is going to hamper the search for a defender 100%. It's going to hold up some money, because you need to think about two things. My hope is that Milik is fit and the club moves him on in January. That's my hope. That some club is foolish enough to take on Milik. I saw Nico talking about Luca from Udinese, who's on the main, one of the main targets at the top of the list. Again, different profile to Vlahovic, not a brilliant talent in my opinion, or an excellent player, not a player that I think everybody is excited about, or me personally. It gives you a different dimension, but if you can give me a Jonathan David, then yeah, that's a player you probably want, because that's a player that will push Vlahovic, to a certain level where it's like, okay, you need to play better because this guy is coming for your spot. Luka is not going to do that. It's got just more of literally a backup option, and he's there, in case Vlahovic needs a rest, or you're going to sub him off in the excuse me, in minute 70. I don't know, like these are like, that's a Luka type of player. It's not a player that's going to move the needle for me throughout the season or throughout the club's history, in my opinion. But again, it's money. We can all go for Jonathan David, and we can all quote unquote dream or be like, yeah, that's an ideal potential player because he's a free agent, or even if you pay Lille some money, Lille are not going to let him go for peanuts in January. That's one. And two, if he plays the way he's playing Jonathan David, we're going to get outbid in transfer fees, in transfer fees. So, in wages, excuse me. So, that's the situation we're in right now. We need something in January, obviously, in that back line because of the Bremer injury and because Danilo's rubbish. We need help 100%. And with Vlahovic, it's over the striker we're short. We have nobody else besides Vlahovic. That's something you need to address. And if Vlahovic goes down, then what? Even if you're on the side of he's not playing well, if he goes down, we don't have a number 9. You don't have a striker, and you need to again do something completely new with a team. You're trying to learn just new things compared to last season. It's just piling on, in my opinion, issues and issues and issues. So that's something that needs to be addressed 100% in the summer. 100%. In January, obviously in the summer, but in January we need some help. We all know. Let me get the comments on. We all know Tau wants Bayern. Probably yes. Dragusin is not happening. His agent talked badly about the club some time ago. Yeah, but it's a new club, I guess. It's with Giuntoli. Again, like if they can leave the bench from Tottenham to actually get minutes at Juve, they will leave. But I don't think Tottenham are letting him go. That's how I'm looking at it. Just score some goals that would elevate some of the pressure all around. They're capable. Just find a way. Well, if it was that easy, we would have been doing it. To be honest, we would have been doing it. Looking back, I think it was a mistake selling Kean. Kean's doing really well Fiorentina right now. It was 100% not a bad idea to sell Moise Kean. We paid plus 30 million. He was on 3.5 million, and he was rubbish. He didn't score a goal for over a year. Like, if he's doing well at Fiorentina, good for him. That's because he's playing week in, week out. Whenever he played for us, he was straight up garbage. Like straight up garbage. Like, absolute rubbish. Like, it wasn't a mistake, The mistake was signing him back in the first place. Panicking because Ronaldo left and we signed Moise Kean. It's good that he's gone. Happy that he's doing well. Hopefully he continues to do well. It's good. I have nothing against Moise Kean, but I don't want to see Moise Kean at Juve. I wouldn't survive another season with Kean at Juve. I wouldn't. We need to move on. The problem was not finding a solution because I knew Milik was going to get injured. It was injury prone. We all knew that. That was my issue. Not replacing Milik, getting Milik out of the club and bringing in a replacement. I talked about it all summer. That move on Milik and bring in another option, That is the issue, not moving on Kean. Right now, you can say, Kean would have been playing because Milik is injured, but we were never keeping 3. The issue was not moving on Kean and Milik to bring in a replacement. How about buying a winger and moving Nico Gonzalez to striker? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And like I will lose my mind if we paid 38 million for Nico Gonzalez to be a backup striker, because you're not gonna bench Vlahovic. You're not gonna do that, you know. So I will absolutely lose my mind. I mean, I'm already pissed that we paid so much for Nico Gonzalez, and I'm not even saying that he's a rubbish player. Like I know what his qualities are, but we overpaid, you know. But playing him as a striker after paying 38 million, I will not survive that. Like in my head, I will not survive that. I will be looking at Giuntoli weird, like really weird, you know, actually weird. So that cannot be an option for me. Like, I don't like him as a winger. Might as well use him as a striker, man. Like I said, like we cannot like him as a winger. I do like him as a winger. I do not like him for the price tag. But if you paid so much money and it's November and you're like, okay, you're gonna play striker, then like, that's bad. That's a bad look, you know. I think it's way too soon also to write off Gonzalez, you know. Gonzalez. I'm not gonna do the price tag. Like we overpaid. Period. I've said it. We overpaid, but if he plays to a certain level, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, we paid 38. You need to play better." Like I knew that from the beginning, so it's kind of pointless to do that again, all over again. You know, it's just he is who he is. You know, he's not a flashy player. It depends. It's like watching Mbangula play. Some do not like his playing style because he's not a Conceição type of player, you know. They don't like him, so it's how do you want to call it? Like it's preference with certain players, you know. Because if Nico Gonzalez is fit, like it or do not like it, he will get the numbers, and I think that's what Mota wants. He will get if he's fit, he's gonna bench Conceição. You can write that down, bookmark it, whatever. If Gonzalez is back fit in, let's say, a week or two, he's starting games over Conceição consistently. So I don't think it's going to happen, by the way. He's not going to play him as a striker. For me, he's a good Serie A player. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. Again, I've said it in the summer. Before we think about Europe big picture, we need to think about Serie A. Get back up there, you know, compete, win, and then we can move on. We cannot miss certain steps. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and say, it's okay to pay 38 million for Nico Gonzalez, because it's not, you know, and we all knew that. So that's the flip side of it. But for Serie A to get back up there, I think he will do the job. And then if we outgrow a Gonzalez, we will move on. We will move on like we did in the past, you know, when we were growing. So I'm not really too fussed about that, to be honest, at this moment in time. Conceição is a better quote-unquote footballer, but, you know, Mota will prefer Gonzalez over Conceição when both are fit. I think that's obvious to me. It's like it was very soon obvious that he doesn't like Danilo. I think it's very obvious that he prefers Gonzalez over Conceição because it's more balanced. It's more control with Gonzalez. So that's what I think, you know. But we'll see. He's not fit, so we cannot really talk about it right now. The only fit players we have are the players out there, and they're going to need to do the job, I guess. But yeah, that's on the transfers or the initial links, early links. There will probably be new names when you edge closer to January, you know, up front and at the back. It will 100% happen. We will probably hear Rugani's agent speak about 3 times between now and January. He did it today, so he's bound to speak again in about 3 weeks or so. But there will be new names out there. You know, they will pop up very soon. But I think that's one of these things in January that we will wrap up relatively quickly, because I think the club will do the work very soon to actually get this done. Maybe between the Supercoppa, you know, when you're kind of playing pointless games, and you can bring in some players as well. I think that's the goal, you know, to actually work on it, set the groundwork and get the deal done really quickly in January, because you cannot give Mota a player at the end of January, when the season is kicking off again completely, cannot really do that. You need to give him that as soon as possible, because he needs help, in terms of like just players, bodies, like numbers. We need numbers. That's it. Quality, I think that's an issue for the summer, but just actually an extra center back and a backup striker, it's just a need, but at this moment in time, Mota needs to deal with it. That's it. We cannot do anything. So on Sunday, when we play Inter, it is what it is. The players who are available are gonna need to do the job. He's gonna need to get these players up, ready. Fired up for Sunday. What happened on Tuesday happened. You cannot forget that, in terms of you need to analyze that, because a lot of things went wrong, on that day. A lot of things got exposed for us on that day. But you cannot go into the game thinking about, it could happen again, because then it will happen again. Inter are coming into that game with question marks as well. They're not firing on all cylinders. It could happen on Sunday. They have injuries. They didn't play a good game against Young Boys. They won, but that was not a good game. I did a preview with Anthony, and you can hear him talk about it tomorrow when I drop the preview. He's not also fired up for a game or very confident about that game, because Inter are a bit, sluggish this season. Then you have injuries. Çalhanoğlu, Acerbi, they're missing players as well. So no excuses for any. And actually for them, it's even worse. On Sunday, for me, yes, the performance needs to be good. But against Inter, I just need a win, obviously. But what you lack in fitness-wise for certain players, or lack in quality because certain players are injured, you need to make up purely based on adrenaline, because it's Juve Inter, and if you're 80% fit, that 20% needs to be pure adrenaline for playing that game. Understanding what it means to play that game, knowing what it means to lose that game and how it feels to lose that game. That should do the trick in terms of getting pumped up for that game. Then obviously quality is needed. Everything we were doing wrong on Wednesday needs to be right on Sunday. We need to be able to keep the ball. We need to be able to beat the press, play out of the press, control some parts of the game, and set the tempo in certain parts of the game, and also get up there in front of goal and actually create something. Is that easy? No. Based on Tuesday, it's not going to be easy, because that's, a 180 you need to do, and that's never easy. It's not FIFA, it's football, and you have 2-3 days between that Stuttgart game to tell the players, now you need to do better. It's an understatement. Yeah, we need to do better, but if that's the max that players can do right now, then yeah, you're not going to fix that in 3 days. It's impossible. So that's why I said it needs to come from adrenaline and just pure mentality and mindset of, this is Juve Inter. We cannot let happen what happened on Tuesday, and we cannot lose this game. I'm not even looking at the table right now, because it's way too early to talk about the table. It's just right now, after what happened on Tuesday, we need to have a solid performance on Sunday. That's it. New game, new mentality from the players, but I'm not really confident just based on recent performances. We've been playing for a while. We've been playing bad for a while, excuse me. We need to be fired up. If we go on the pitch like last year, we'll lose it. Yeah, but not too fired up, because it feels like we have a discipline issue, like Julian suggested on Twitter. A lot of red cards, a lot of players losing their heads. So there is an issue in that regard. We cannot act like there's not. We cannot deny it. So like a good set of adrenaline is good. It's needed, but not going over the top, not going overboard. Otherwise, it will be a long night. Like it really will be a very long night. If we lose, I will cry and never cry, and I never cry about games. It hurts. I will not cry about losing a game. I'm too old for that. But it will hurt. Against Inter, losing against Inter just hurts. Losing a game hurts, but losing against Inter, it double hurts. It really does. The only positive is we play Parma midweek. So you don't need to sit on it a week if you lose, but it hurts. I have a lot of friends who are Inter fans. It's a terrible week, if you lose against Inter. It's a terrible week. It's fun if you win. It's really fun, to a point where, friends will block you on social media for a week. But if you lose, it's a long day, and we come off a bad result, so it will be extremely long for the players at Mota, and you go into that game midweek with a lot of question marks and, doubts and so on. And then, it gets sticky. So we need to be up for it. It needs to be up. We need to be up for it 110%. We need to stand up. If Fagioli plays, I need you to have a Leipzig type of game. If Vlahovic starts, which he's going to start, I need to have you a solid game. The chances you get, you need to be putting those away. Conceição, I need you to be control, and not all chaos, but also play where your head a little bit. Don't lose your head, don't let the Inter get into your head. Do not drop to the ground too soon. Just, please play solid, and that's all I'm asking for on Sunday. Play solid, and then the rest will come, in my opinion. I hope Motta will not overthink it too much. I don't think he will, Spiros. I don't think he will. I don't think there's much to overthink, I don't think he's going to do that. I thought I don't know, the news was out there that he's going to play Juve behind the strikers. And I was out for a run earlier this evening, and I was like, he's not going to do that. He's just going to stick to what he thinks is the best way to play, and it's probably with Locatelli, Thuram, and Fagioli, and he's just going to play Yildiz and Conceição and Vlahovic. He's not going to do crazy stuff right now, and maybe we all are sitting here saying, we don't like Yildiz there, give him more freedom, and I would agree. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's just going to stick with his basics right now. Will Inter fans boo Motta, do you think? Probably. Probably. I guess. I don't care. To be honest, we booed Conte, and if I was at the stadium, I would have done the same. When he came back with Inter as a coach, I would have done the same. So I would be disappointed if they don't boo Motta, to be honest. That's part of it, So I know if they do that, the media will be like, oh, this is not fun. It's football. Just grow up, man up. It's Inter Juve. It's never friendly, nor should it ever be friendly. If that game ever becomes friendly, I stop watching football forever. I think McKennie will play, and that's killing me a bit. Or McKennie. I just said Thuram or McKennie, but I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if he benches McKennie, to be honest. I wouldn't be shocked. My prediction is a draw. I expect a hard-fought game, but we will lack quality. I did my prediction with Anthony. Tomorrow you can check. But you could be very right. You can be very right. Do you think Savona will start? Savona versus Di Marco would not end well. I feel, well, the initial talk is he's not going to start. But again, it's one of those where I'm like, will we be shocked if he plays Savona? Like, he played him against Farah, and everybody was like, oh no. And he locked him up, He did. We haven't seen Farah all game. We didn't see him all game, So besides that one moment in the first half, but I think nobody will be shocked if he starts Savona, right? I don't think he will. Hi Alex. Inter game will be too big for Savona. Could be. I thought Stuttgart looked too big for him as well. But Motta likes him, so yeah. That's it. I even think Cabal, like if you play Cabal, I think that game will be too big for him as well. Because he played well against Lazio. I don't think he was awful against Stuttgart, but there were moments where I'm like, your positioning is very questionable over here. You need to learn a lot quickly. But he's one of those players right now, Cabal, who is going to look good one week and is going to look very dodgy the other week. That's how I'm looking at Cabal right now. So in certain aspects, you can say it's also too big for him. I like I'm quote unquote excited what Cabal could become, but right now he's not there yet. It's, for me personally, it's a lot of extremes with him. He does certain things so good, and the other week it's like, questionable. What happened to what you did against Lazio? But he has potential right now. He has potential. He works hard. He has a massive engine. He can go for another 90 minutes after the first 90 minutes, but he's not there yet. So you can also say that's a question mark for Inter, or that could be, oh, he's not ready for Inter. Who knows? I really don't care who plays in the game. I expect whoever plays to give everything effort-wise. I mean, after Stuttgart, I wanted a performance. But if you tell me we will play horrible on Sunday, like absolutely dog shit, worse than Stuttgart, but we will win it with a deflected goal in minute 90. I will be like, yes, I'll sign up right now. I will come on in my match reaction and I will be absolutely shameless because we beaten Inter. I will worry about the performance against Parma. If you give me that option, I will sign for that. But if we're not going to win that game, I want to see something. I want to see something we can build on. Conceição, Yildiz, we are the wingers and the attacking midfielder. No, Vlahovic is going to start. If that's what you mean. Or... you mean like Yildiz behind? Okay, my bad. Excuse me. But that's way on the left then. That's not going to happen, I think. I don't think that, like, that's a very unbalanced side. I think Malta will look at that and be like, that's extremely unbalanced defensively. Like, it's too much, in my opinion. Also, way on the left, I don't know. Like, I'm not even convinced way on the right, so let alone on the left. Like, you're making it extremely hard for me as well to actually like him. Or actually, you know, rep for him. But yeah, that's it, people. I'm gonna wrap this one up because I already recorded quite a long preview for preview standard. So gonna drop that tomorrow with Anthony. So it's gonna be a different type of preview. Stay tuned for that. Then I will be post game on Sunday, maybe a live as well on Sunday, depending on how the result goes. Extremely well or extremely poor. Then maybe we need to talk about things very soon. If you don't fight and play like Stuttgart, I expect that now we will fight. Yeah, if we play like Stuttgart, we will lose. If we play like the Stuttgart game, you can write it down and put a lot of money on it. We will lose that game 100%. You know, but the hope is they understand the moment. The hope is they understand the game and we go for it. Please win, but a draw won't be a bad result. It depends, you know. If it depends, you know. But the initial mindset is try to win that game. If I believe that, you will find out tomorrow. But the initial mindset should be go there and win that game. You know. Same for the Inter, by the way. That's it. But yeah, people, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks for joining. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel as well, as always. And I will speak to you guys post-game Sunday. Hopefully with a big smile on my face and being shameless because we beat Inter. If not, then, well, it's going to be a depressing video. But yeah. See you Sunday, people. Have a good night and stay safe as always.